What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do something that should be fairly simple. It's a very easy modification to do on your vehicle, and it's a very inexpensive modification that you could do for your vehicle. So what we're going to be doing is a blinker light conversion kit. So this should not be a very hard install. We just have to take the door panels off of the passenger and driver side, and then this kit that I bought, which I will post a link in the description, it comes with everything you need to do the job. Now, could you do this with your own wiring and your own fittings? Yes, you probably could. But I like to support small businesses, so when somebody has already figured it all out and cut all the wires, has all the fittings you need, and they basically create a package that has everything you need to do the job, and it's only $20, I'm all about that. Now let me show you what this is going to do. Okay, so just to show you what I'm talking about, these blinker lights here are not working right now, but turn on the actual turn signal lights, they will light up. Okay, now if I turn on the lights onto on, nothing. If I put them on any other position, they don't light up. They're only for turn signals. So when you do the conversion kit that we're about to do today, these will actually be on when your headlights are turned on, which is really awesome because it gives you another light that makes your truck noticeable, especially at night when you're driving down the street. But it looks cool too. Now there are some switchback kits out there that cost more. They're usually between $150, maybe $200, and they might have more of an upgraded LED light that might switch back and forth between a white LED and an amber LED. But I didn't really need to go that much. Again, I was looking for something very low cost because those are the modifications I like. Something that's very low cost, very easy to install, but has a really cool benefit to it. So that's what we're doing today. Again, this is about a $20 modification, and let's get started. Okay. Now, as you can see here, I got these from JHD Lighting, and I will put the link to this in the description of this video. But as you can see, everything's already lined up. It has everything already pigtailed and has all your fittings, has all your wiring, has everything already figured out for you. All you have to do is install it. So the first thing we're gonna have to do is take off both the driver's side door panel and the passenger side door panel. And typically to do that, you're just gonna take out the couple bolts around the edge, like this one here, and there's probably a couple along the edge. Now keep in mind, when you're taking these little plastic clips out, these are plastic. So if you put too much pressure pushing on them, they're just gonna keep spinning. So you gotta very lightly pull on them while you're pulling them out, and they're just a little plastic screw. So once you pull that clip out, it's just gonna look like that. So again, that's all those are. Once you get those done, then you just wanna take a little pry tool and take off this little plastic clip. It's just covering right there, okay? So just use like a little pry tool, you know, something like this. Get in there, pop that out. Take that bolt out, and then this whole plastic assembly should pop right off. And then we'll pry this one up and then unhook that one. Typically, you just get a pry tool under there, just like so. And then all you gotta do is unplug them from the back. We'll pop that off. And then the whole door should basically lift up because you wanna make sure the door clears your lock. So basically, after you have all those bolts undone, you have that bolt taken out there, you have that plastic housing taken off, and you've unplugged this and pulled that out. Then, once you've done all that, you take this little plastic corner piece off right here. It literally just pops right off. The whole door should lift up and then pull towards you, and it should pop right off. Lift up, and the whole thing pops right off, and that's what you're exposed with. So go ahead and set your door to the side. And then what we're gonna do is the same exact thing on that side. So let me go do that, and then we'll get into the next step. Okay, the next you wanna take your panel plate right here, pop that off. Right underneath your main wiring harness that goes to the door, there's a little rubber plug. Looks like this. Just go ahead and take that out and expose that hole, okay? Okay, next, then you're just gonna take like a little pry tool like this, all right? And just get it in there and wedge those couple things out right there, because you basically wanna pop this cover here off because we need access to that hole from that side, because we're gonna have to feed the shorter wire through that hole to the inside. Okay, now when you open your bag, you're gonna have a shorter lead wire, a longer lead wire. You're gonna have 2 pigtails, and then you're gonna have a splice connector. Now, the shorter lead wire is gonna be the driver's side. The longer lead wire is what's gonna go to the passenger side, and that has to be longer because that's gonna end up coming all the way over here and spliced again over here as well. So just make sure you start with the shorter lead wire on the driver's side. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is just pop this little plastic panel out. It gives you access. It's very easy. It literally just pops off. Then reach your hand up under there and just push a little bit right here, and then this will pop out. And then you want to disconnect that harness because we're going to be tapping into that harness here in a minute. Okay, next, you want to pull that wire from the daytime running light switch and locate your orange wire with the light gray stripe. As you can see here, there's 2 orange wires. Go with the one with the light gray stripe and tap into it because we're going to need that in a minute. Then we need to feed the shorter 5-foot wire through that hole that we unplugged over here. So once you have it pulled through, just leave it over here for now. Then we need to feed this side on this side of the door jamb here. It's best to undo this boot. I've just pulled this out to show you an illustration. You can pull this boot off of your main wire harness, feed that wire through that little bit of hose right here, and you can take this plate off. Now, I've already went ahead and took the star bits out of back here. There's 2 of them, so go ahead and take those out. And once you take those 2 star bits out, then you have access to this harness right here, okay? So it's a little easier to maneuver it once you actually unscrew it. Now you have a little bit of flexibility because you want to pull that red wire that we're going to run from inside here up through this hole. We're going to go out of that hole into this rubber boot, fish it down through the boot, and pop it out right here. So let me go ahead and do that. We'll be right back. Now, just to show you how I fish the wire through, I use the same thing. I have an old antenna that I use. They're very flexible, they're hard, and I just pushed it through this hose and then pulled it up through the top. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna tape my lead wire to the top of that and gently pull it back through. That's just the easiest way I've found to pull wires through, especially when I'm pulling wires through my firewall. This works the same way. So let me get that done. I'll be right back. Okay, so after you fish the wire, keep the fitting side closer to the door. Feed the wire through, pop it out the bottom. Then what you're gonna do is feed it through that rubber bushing. And we're gonna feed that wire through the panel here, out below, and then pop the fitting back in. And then we'll be right back. Okay, so the next step is right in this black box. You're gonna locate the wire that's coming down from your actual mirror. Okay, don't worry about these other harnesses. Just look for the wire that's coming down from the mirror. Open up that little bit of thread tape there and you'll find your white wire. Typically you might have a white wire with a black stripe, but this one it's just white. You're gonna splice that wire, cut it. Then with the supplied fitting connections, you're going to tap in with these fittings. Now you could probably solder it yourself, but I'm just using the fittings because once they're actually crimped on there and they're behind a door panel and they're safe from outside weather elements, I'm not too worried about them. So you want the male end going to the black box. Okay, so the male fitting to the black box. All right, you want the female fitting coming from the wire that goes to your mirror. Okay, and here's why. You're going to go into your wire harness here. All right, now the wire harness here says driver's side mirror, tap wire, black box, and they're already pigtailed together with the correct fittings. So when you're looking at the black box, it's a female. Coming out of the black box, like we talked about before, was a male. So you're going to go ahead and tap that in. Okay. Then at the pigtail here, where it's marked driver's side mirror, that's a male. That's going to plug into the female that you added to the wire going to the mirror. So go ahead and plug that in. Then the wire that we fished through that hose that goes into the cab, that's a male. That's going to plug into the female end here, marked tap wire. So you can go ahead, tap that in. So that's essentially what it's going to look like. Okay, and then you can always zip tie everything up. You know, I would say electrical tape it up real nice and tight, and then we'll zip tie it up later. Okay, but we're gonna leave that here for now because I don't want to tape anything up and zip tie it and put anything back together until I test this. So let's go hop on the passenger side now. Okay, on the passenger side, it's the same exact thing. You're gonna take your floor seal off. You're gonna unbolt the wire harness on the side. Use some type of wire or some way to fish your wire through this boot and go through that hole and underneath, just as we did on the driver's side. So let me go ahead and finish doing that and we'll be right back. When it comes to Ram trucks, their wiring diagram color codes are not always what other trucks are or what other manufacturers say they should be when you're wiring things up. So I originally wired in to a white wire because the directions were there was supposed to be a white wire with black line. Well, there was not a white wire with a black line, there was a white wire. So I figured that was probably it. I spliced in. Went to the passenger side over here, there's no white wire at all. So what I did was the old school way. I actually took my mirror off here, and I'll show you what I did. And I probably should have did this in the beginning. I took my little mirror off and pulled out the wire harness here, and as you can see, there's two black wires, a black and a black with a gray stripe. So when you come down here and you look at the wiring coming down from the mirror down to here, there's a whole bunch of black wires, but I just looked for a black wire with a white stripe and I assumed that was my power. So what I did was I tested it out and it worked. So just make sure if you are trying to wire up this conversion kit to a Ram truck, just be aware the colors on the wiring might not be this way. But on my 2018 Ram 2500, the wire looks like that. It's a black wire with a gray stripe. That is the wire you want to splice into for your turn signal light. So I'm gonna go ahead and wire everything up, finish it all, clean it up, and we should be done. But I have tested it and it worked, and let me show you what I mean. So if I go ahead and put, okay, so if I go ahead here, and as you can see right here, the light is not on. Sorry, it's sunny out, it's kind of hard to give you, but you see the light is not on. Now, let me turn the lights on. Now they're running. So now they're hooked up as a daytime running light. And if I want to use the turn signals, let me reach over here. They actually get brighter and they still work as a turn signal. Turn the turn signal off, they still have a running light running, which is really awesome. And then on the other side, there you go. Daytime is working. And if I go ahead and turn the turn signal on over here for the passenger side, it's working now as well. So again, all you want to do is make sure before you start cutting and splicing wires, I would highly suggest trying to look behind your mirror here and see what wires are going to that light, because not all trucks are wired the same. So I found out the hard way, and that's why I put these videos out here, because I tend to learn the hard way, but I'd rather film it and show you what not to do. So again, when you're splicing into your wires to get to the blinker light for the turn signal on a Ram 2500, now this is a 2018 truck, it's the black wire with the gray or the light white stripe. That's the power wire. And then what I'll do is I'll be doing my next truck over here, and I'll have to see what wires those are. And if I look, well, I can't kind of move that out of the way. If I look, well, I can't get this to focus, but you can almost see it right there. It looks like it's the same thing. It looks like it's a black wire with a white stripe. So that's what I'm going to assume is the power wire for the Ram 2500 for the turn signal blinker light. It's a black wire with a light white stripe. Okay, so we're just finishing up on the gray truck. We're doing the exact same thing that we did on the red truck. So I just wanted to show you a couple things of how it's going to look. After you get all your harnesses zip tied and taped up over here, I left this open to show you that the wire goes in behind here. It goes up through the hose, in through here, through the firewall, comes up under here, and then it goes into your dash, into your pigtail like that. Okay, so remember the power lead wire that comes from this harness through here and the power lead wire from that side that comes up under here, they both get tied together to a fitting and it attaches to that T-fitting right there. So again, that's all you need to do there. So everything's done. I just want to show you that they're working on my truck too. Now my truck's a little harder to see the light because remember, if you remembered a long time ago, I used some of that VHT and tinted that. So it's going to be hard to see the light in the sunlight here, but it'll show up better at night. But let me just turn this to on. Okay. And you can see here, again, it's hard to see because of the sun, but you can see my lights are lit up. So now I'll have daytime running lights. And then if I hit the turn signal, there you go. So again, both trucks are done and I just got to finish cleaning up this truck and then we'll be completely done. And then I'll show you what they look like at night. Okay, we are done. We got everything hooked up. All the door panels are back on. Everything's nice and tight. Everything's cleaned up real nice. Everything's zip tied underneath real good. I got one more zip tie to put up under here to get that red wire up under there. But other than that, we're all done. Again, everything's nice and clean. Everything's tight. Everything's ran and zip tied underneath. Everything is good to go. So what we'll do is we'll come back later tonight and I'll show you what they look like at night while they're running. Okay, so the sun went down. Got the daytime running lights on, and now, as you can see, the turn signal blinker lights are now daytime running lights as well. There's mine. Now I have the cab marker lights as well. Now my daytime running lights here are a little darker because again, I used some of that tinting spray and tinted out that lens, so it's not as bright. But I might eventually get new ones put in. But that's what that looks like. So there you go there. There you go. Now that's a pretty cool modification. Again, for $20 to get another light at the end of your mirrors, that's pretty cool. But it turned out pretty good and it was a fairly simple and easy modification. Now let's check and see what the turn signals look like. See how they get brighter now when they blink? And then they dim off a little bit when you turn the turn signals off. But there you go. That is a very cool modification that did not cost much money at all. Okay, so we are finally done. I got both trucks finished. It was actually a very simple install. It's just finding the actual power wire or the hot wire for the actual blinker light was a little bit difficult because in the instructions for this kit, it was calling for a white wire with a black stripe. My truck does not have a white wire with a black stripe. So basically I just had to look at the mirror itself, find out what wires were going to that blinker light, and I guessed that it was the black one with the gray stripe, and I was right. So that was the same on both of my trucks. So if you do happen to have a 4th gen Ram like what I have, and you're looking to do this, you're probably going to end up looking for a black wire with a light gray stripe. That'll be the hot wire that goes to your blinker turn signal light. So that was the only difficult part, but once I found that out, the rest was pretty easy. It actually takes more time to take all the panels off and put all the panels back on than the actual wiring itself. But overall, everything went pretty good. So that's it. Hope this video helps you out. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, like this video. And if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments section and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And subscribe to the channel because it definitely helps me out and I greatly appreciate it. So again, I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you. And as always, see you in the next video.